Picture this. You get home after a long, grueling day. You walk inside, you shut the front door behind you, and the very first thing you do is reach into your pocket, pull out your phone, and turn it completely off.
You're like, no buzzing in your pocket, no screens glaring at you, no group chats lighting up with a dozen rapid-fire messages.
Right, you just set it on the counter, and then you go right back outside for a walk, totally alone, no headphones, no deep dive playing in your ears, no music.
Just you.
Yeah, just you, stepping out into the world with nothing but your own thoughts and the sounds of the neighborhood.
Now, to anyone watching you, to the outside world, that behavior looks, well, it looks a little lonely. Or even antisocial.
Oh, people might genuinely wonder if something is wrong. I mean, we've been conditioned to view anyone walking in silence as either deeply sad or completely disconnected from reality.
It totally looks lonely to the outside world. But in today's deep dive, we're looking at a stack of sources that argue the exact opposite. Stepping away isn't antisocial, it's a strategic advantage.
It really is. We're exploring the intellectual grace of solitude. We'll examine the crucial difference between being lonely and being alone, and look at how some of the most profound minds in history use silence to foster deep self-awareness.
And build emotional independence.
Right, exactly, and unlock the brain's hidden creative networks.
The stakes for you, the listener, are just incredibly high right now. Because the modern world is literally engineered to prevent you from being alone with your thoughts.
Oh, 100%.
Like, the attention economy runs on this concept called continuous partial attention. Your notifications compete for your focus every single second. Streaming services eliminate any chance of boredom.
Right, we've built an entire society that operates on the premise that silence is a problem that needs to be solved with content.
Exactly. So solitude is rapidly becoming one of the rarest human experiences available to us.
Which means, if we want to understand why brilliant minds actively seek out this increasingly rare resource, we have to start by clearing up a massive cultural confusion. Okay, let's unpack this. We need to untangle loneliness from solitude.
Yeah, and our sources suggest this isn't just about, one feeling sad and the other feeling happy. It's about the cognitive toll of how we interact with our environment.
Right.
It is the great misunderstanding of our time, really. People use those two words interchangeably, but psychologically, they operate on completely different frequencies.
How so?
Well, loneliness is the emotion pain of feeling disconnected. It's a state of perceived lack. A lonely person looks around an empty room, and their brain registers a threat. It says, nobody is here, I am isolated, I am vulnerable.
Whereas solitude is the peaceful, deliberate, chosen experience of being alone. Solitude doesn't look around and register a threat.
No, not at all.
It looks around and says, I am enough for this moment. It's a state of sufficiency. And the fascinating part from the research is that this difference is entirely internal.
Totally. You can be standing in a crowd of hundreds of people at a networking event or surrounded by family at a holiday dinner and feel intensely, painfully lonely.
We've all experienced that profound sense of isolation in a crowded room. And on the flip side, you can be perfectly at peace sitting by yourself in a totally empty house for 3 days straight.
Yeah, the physical presence of other human beings isn't the defining metric.
Wait, let me push back on this for a second, because there is a fine line between observing the world in peaceful solitude and just isolating yourself because you lack social skills.
Well, that's a very fair point.
I'm thinking of how society views the person sitting alone at the cafe staring out the window. We pity them. How do we differentiate the intellectual who is genuinely pondering ideas from someone who is just using solitude as a convenient excuse to avoid the friction of socializing?
That is an incredibly important distinction to make. The difference really lies in the internal dialogue and where their cognitive bandwidth is being directed.
Okay.
The person avoiding social friction is usually highly anxious, their internal world is chaotic, and they are hiding from external judgment.
Right, they're running away from something.
Exactly. Yeah. But highly intelligent people who are seeking solitude, they are doing it to engage in active internal stimulation. They aren't hiding. They are exploring.
They develop a remarkably strong relationship with their own curiosity. They find tangible intellectual meaning in just observing the world without needing to constantly react to it.
Yeah, they aren't waiting for a text message to tell them how to feel or what to think about.
They are generating their own weather, so to speak.
I love that. And that takes practice, Instead of constantly needing external input to feel alive, like a conversation, a video, a feed to scroll, they learn how to stimulate their own minds.
For them, solitude is a laboratory. It's an opportunity, not a punishment.
Right.
Which naturally leads us to ask, why do these highly intelligent individuals crave this specific type of laboratory so much?
Well, the sources point out that it fundamentally comes down to how they process information. Many of them experience typical social interaction as genuinely exhausting.
And not because they are misanthropes sitting in an ivory tower judging everyone.
Far from it. It's not about disliking humanity, it's about craving depth. They are deeply interested in ideas, in spotting patterns across different disciplines, in exploring hypothetical possibilities.
Chewing on unanswerable questions.
Exactly. And those kinds of topics cannot be explored over a 5-minute water cooler chat about the weather or what you had for lunch.
When conversations hover on the surface like that, their minds are starving for something more substantial. So solitude naturally becomes the sanctuary where that deeper exploration can actually happen.
Yeah.
And history gives us some incredibly vivid proof of this. The sources don't just drop names, they highlight the specific environments these thinkers engineered. Take Isaac Newton, for example.
Oh, Newton's story is perhaps the ultimate case study in the power of solitude. In 1665, the Great Plague swept through London. The University of Cambridge was forced to close,
Right.
and a young Isaac Newton had to retreat to his family's farm at Woolsthorpe Manor. He was in total isolation for over a year. He didn't have his professors, he didn't have his peers to bounce ideas off of.
He didn't have the constant hum of university life. He was completely severed from his intellectual social network.
And it was precisely during that uninterrupted forced silence that he experienced his year of wonders. He developed early calculus, his groundbreaking theories on optics and light, and the foundational laws of gravity.
He had to rely entirely on his own internal architecture to process the world. Nikola Tesla is another fascinating example for our notes.
Absolutely.
He famously said, the mind is sharper and keener in seclusion and uninterrupted solitude. He aggressively guarded his alone time.
Because he understood that other people's energy, no matter how well-intentioned, could interrupt the delicate process of building an invention entirely in his mind before he ever touched a physical tool.
Then there's Carl Jung, the legendary psychiatrist who built a literal stone tower, the Bullingen Tower in Switzerland. It had no electricity, no running water, and he would retreat there for months.
Right, he argued that to truly access the depths of human psychology, to understand the subconscious, one absolutely requires time away from the hypnotic influence of the crowd.
These people were not hiding from society. They were aggressively creating space for profound thought. And thought requires silence.
It does.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We talk about the mind needing silence, but I think we can look at it through the lens of cognitive load.
Totally.
In the modern world, we are constantly taxing our prefrontal cortex with micro-decisions and continuous partial attention, bouncing between chat tabs, scrolling feeds, answering emails.
You're touching on the necessity of a neurological reset. When your brain is constantly engaged in processing external stimuli, the cognitive toll is massive. The mind becomes overwhelmed, cluttered, and exhausted.
Our sources use the metaphor of a muddy jar. If you keep shaking a jar of muddy water, it stays cloudy. You can't see through it.
The dirt just keeps swirling.
Right, and every notification, every quick glance at your phone in an elevator is you shaking your own mental jar. You rob yourself of clarity. The cognitive load stays heavy and the dirt never settles, but silence stops the movement.
And when the brain is finally allowed to stop reacting to the immediate environment, the mental mud settles. The clarity that emerges provides two massive, life-altering advantages that our sources highlight in detail.
Let's get into those.
The first is unshakable emotional independence.
Okay, so what does this all mean for our social lives? If someone spends all this time alone, lets the mud settle, and develops this incredibly robust internal world, don't they run the risk of becoming detached?
That's a huge fear for a lot of people.
Yeah, like if you are so emotionally independent that you don't need anyone's validation, doesn't that make you cold?
It is a logical assumption, but the data and the psychology say the exact opposite. This is a major societal misconception.
Really? How?
If you rely on external validation and applause for your emotional stability, your emotional state is completely tethered to other people's opinions. You are constantly performing. You need approval, and when you don't get it, anxiety rushes in.
I see. Solitude forces a blunt confrontation with yourself. Like, can you genuinely enjoy your own company? Can you sit there and feel complete without a single person clapping for you?
Exactly. Answering yes to that changes your entire social dynamic. Because when you don't need a relationship just to fill an emotional void in yourself, you aren't desperate. You don't cling to people out of fear of being alone.
You choose to be around people authentically simply because you value them as individuals.
Right.
You bring far less insecurity to the table and way more respect. You aren't using your friends or your partner as an emotional crutch. You're just enjoying walking next to them.
And that internal stability is highly attractive. People who are comfortable being alone possess a quiet confidence. They don't demand attention, they don't try to dominate conversations to prove their worth, and that makes others naturally drawn to their presence.
So this emotional independence gives you the armor to stop worrying about what everyone else thinks. But once your brain isn't wasting all its energy managing social anxiety or scanning the room for threats to your ego, what does it do with all that leftover horsepower?
It shifts gears entirely. It moves into the second massive advantage of solitude, which is boundless creativity. And this brings us to some genuinely fascinating neuroscience.
Yeah, I love this part.
Innovation requires mental space to wander, and it happens through a biological mechanism called the default mode network.
Okay, I've heard the term default mode network thrown around in articles and stuff, but I'm realizing I don't actually know what it means biologically. Are there physical parts of the brain shutting down when we are alone? I'm struggling to see how doing nothing leads to a creative breakthrough.
It's a brilliant paradox, honestly. The default mode network, or DMN, is essentially the brain's background autopilot. When you are highly focused on an external task, say answering an email, or even just actively watching a complicated movie, your prefrontal cortex is lit up and consuming energy.
The brain is hyper-focused on the immediate present.
Right, but the moment you stop focusing on external tasks, the prefrontal cortex powers down its active engagement.
And the brain just goes to sleep.
Not at all. It switches networks. The DMN powers up. And the DMN spans multiple, normally siloed regions of the brain. When this network is active, those different regions start crosstalking.
Wow.
Yeah, the brain begins rapidly reviewing past memories, projecting hypothetical future scenarios, and smashing radically different ideas together to see if they fit.
Instead of a filing cabinet metaphor, it sounds more like a busy city. When you're actively focused and consuming content, it's like rush hour traffic on Main Street.
Right.
All the cognitive energy is directed into getting from point A to point B as fast as possible.
That's a great way to put it.
But in solitude, the main streets shut down, the traffic clears, and suddenly your brain starts noticing the side streets, the weird little alleyways, the strange connections between distant neighborhoods that you never saw because you were too busy staring at the bumper in front of you.
That is a perfect analogy for the default mode network, and it explains why the most brilliant breakthroughs almost never happen while you are staring intensely at a spreadsheet or sitting in a chaotic brainstorming.
They happen in the shower. Or while you're staring out the window on a train. Or going through a long silent walk.
Because that is when the DMN is allowed to run wild. But consider the modern alternative. This biological process becomes severely stunted or even entirely impossible if every spare second of your day is consumed by external stimulation.
If you reflexively grab your phone the second you feel bored in line at the store, you are forcing the prefrontal cortex back on.
Exactly. You kill the crosstalk. You never let the brain switch into that default mode, which means you never get the breakthroughs. Solitude fiercely protects the biological environment necessary for creativity to flourish.
Which makes this pursuit of internal stability and mental clarity feel incredibly vital right now. It gets packaged as a modern life hack to beat burnout, but our sources point out that this is an ancient philosophy.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the neuroscientists are really just proving what ancient philosophers understood thousands of years ago. The Stoics, particularly the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, wrote extensively about the absolute necessity of withdrawing into one's own mind.
The Stoic blueprint dictates that true peace and profound insight come exclusively from the quality of your own thoughts. It does not come from your external circumstances, the praise of the Senate, or the expansion of your empire.
Right. Contrast that Stoic ideal with the exhausting mandate of the modern attention economy. Everywhere you look, every digital surface is screaming at you to direct your attention outward.
Buy this product, watch this drama, follow this influencer.
Compare your lifestyle to this stranger's highlight reel. Consume, consume, consume. It places an unbearable cognitive load on the individual.
It leads to a profound, societal-level mental exhaustion. And from that perspective, choosing solitude today isn't just a quirky introvert habit, it is almost an act of rebellion.
It absolutely is. It is a deliberate, strategic pushback against a culture that constantly demands your external focus. Solitude is the antidote. It is a slower, quieter path directed inward, designed to rebuild the self.
I think we need a crucial caveat here, though. The sources are very clear that the goal is not total, permanent isolation. We aren't advocating that you abandon your family and go live in a cabin in the woods.
No, no. Human connection remains absolutely essential to our well-being. Community matters deeply. The actual goal is balance.
Right.
The healthiest, most intelligent individuals know how to navigate both realms fluidly. They know when to engage fiercely with the world, to collaborate and connect, and they know when the cognitive load is too high and it's time to step away. It's the balance between action and contemplation.
You need the inhale of solitude and the exhale of connection. Both are required to keep the mind alive.
Growth requires both.
So, as we bring this deep dive to a close, let's look at the core takeaway for you, the listener. If you find yourself frequently wanting to be alone, or craving just a few minutes of absolute silence away from your family or your coworkers, do not automatically assume something is wrong with you.
Definitely not. Don't let society label you as antisocial or disconnected. Remember that the absolute strongest, most foundational relationship you will ever build in your entire life is the one you have with yourself.
Every other relationship you have stems from that core foundation.
And like any relationship, it requires time and attention to maintain. So here's our challenge to you. The very next time you find yourself alone, maybe you're waiting in your car before walking into a meeting, or sitting on the edge of your bed in the morning, resist the urge to immediately grab your phone.
Don't shake the muddy jar, just sit with the silence. Observe where your thoughts naturally wander without a digital algorithm guiding them.
Let the prefrontal cortex power down, and let the default mode network take over.
You might discover something incredibly valuable waiting for you beneath all the traffic on Main Street. Because, as our sources remind us, silence reveals truths that noise obscures. Which leaves us with one final, lingering question to mull over.
Think back to that opening image. You close the door, you shut off the phone, you step out into the quiet.
What if the constant noise, the music, the endless scrolling that you surround yourself with isn't just an unavoidable side effect of living in the modern world? What if it is actually a subconscious shield?
A shield you are actively holding up to avoid meeting your true self.
This raises an important question about what we are actually running from when we refuse to be alone. Step into the quiet and find out who is waiting there.